Former member House of Representatives, once honorable, always honorable. Please, a round of applause. Senator DINO MELAYE, former member House of Representatives, member of the Senate. We have our guests from abroad, the president of the Law Society of Uganda, Mr. Isaac Isekade. We have the first female chairman of the foremost branch of the Nigerian Bar Association, Mrs. Uchenna Akingbade. Without further ado, the subject of discussion today is Nigeria, a country under construction, a nation under construction. I believe that every member of this August gathering has their own personal impression of that subject, given our common and unique experiences as citizens of this country. And it is in that sense that I would call on Mr. Femi Falana to give us his initial thoughts on that subject, a nation under construction.
Thank you very much, Mr. Moderator, President of the Bar, distinguished colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. I'm delighted to be here. But let me say this, because you know I have to be frank with the audience. And this goes for the leadership of the bar. I want to appeal that the Bar Association must stop inviting dictators in Africa to come and address us. Mr. Way, George Way, who was here yesterday, I was talking about the judiciary. In his country, his regime captured the judiciary to the extent that they had to contact some of us outside the country to get legal redress in the ECOWAS court. In the case of Mandingo, people of Mandingo against Liberia, people whose landed properties were seized during the war, the ECOWAS court gave them judgment. Judge Weah refused to comply with the judgment. The new government of Bokar has just set up a committee for the enforcement of that judgment. Second one, a judge, an associate justice of the Supreme Court of Liberia, was dismissed without any basis. Again, we went to the ECOWAS court. The ECOWAS court set aside his dismissal and awarded him $200,000. He was ordered to be reinstated. Mr. George Weah refused to comply with the judgment. Now, that is the man coming here to talk to us about the rule of law and democracy. He ruled the Liberia between 2018 and 2024. During his time, drug barons took over the country. Just on the 19th of August, his vice president, Madam Edith, was arrested on the 19th of August. She's currently standing trial for drug trafficking to the tune of $370 million in that poor country. So when you now have such character, you know, during the last World Cup in Qatar, his son, Tedious, was playing for the United States of America, not for Liberia. This man left his country for 9 days, took the money of that country to go and share his son in Qatar. So please, next time you want time we want to invite African leaders, there are some of them that require to be invited, particularly the President of Namibia. By the way, my chairman will be interested, Lagos Bar. The President of Namibia, the Vice President of Namibia, and the Speaker of the National Parliament of Namibia are women. It's never happened in Africa before. Now, on the nation, Chief Obafemi Awolowo, in 1947, this said that Nigeria was a geographical expression. He wasn't saying that to ask for the bifurcation of the country or Pakistanization of Nigeria. He was making that point to strengthen his argument for federalism, for a multi-ethnic and multi-religious society. In 2016, before the old man passed on, the respected Professor Ben Wabuisi, he also said, we have not realized our dream of having a nation, which is part of both scholars, legal scholars. Nigeria is a nation. I'll tell you what is a nation? A nation is a defined territory under one government, the same culture and customs. The British colonial regime turned Nigeria into a nation in 2014 when you have the northern and southern amalgamation. But please mind you, nowhere is it written in that amalgamation document that after 200 years Nigeria will divide. No, it's not that. Because for the imperialists, they wanted Nigeria to remain a united entity to facilitate the eternal exploitation of this territory called Nigeria. So in 1960, when the British was forced to leave Nigeria, British regime, they made sure, the British government made sure that independence was negotiated with those who will retain the Nigerian nation to continue to serve the interests of imperialism.
Did you get that?
Many of us read our terrible history books that we have our independence on the platform. So please, that is for whom? Such a submission is for whom? In 1929, 55 women were killed in Abaya. In 1949, 21 coal miners were killed. In 1948, the members of the city's movement were killed for sedition. In 1945, Michael Imodu, yes, and just last sentence, Michael Imodu was banished to Auschwitz for 3 years. The point I'm making, those were the people fighting for Nigeria independence. But what the British did was say, let the Awolowo, the Amadu Bellos and Zik, please help us to gain this territory for the continuous exploitation of Britain and others. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I will move on to Senator MELAYE. What are your initial thoughts?
To God be glory forever and ever. Amen. I want to start by appreciating the indomitable indefatigable President of the Nigerian Bar Association for giving me the opportunity to speak in this conference and to thank the Nigerian Bar Association for putting together this program. If you speak the truth, you will die. If you lie, you will die. I, DINO MELAYE, have chosen to speak the truth and die peacefully. I want to say, without fear or favor, that the topic of discussion this morning is Nigeria, a nation under construction. But I want to say that the land has not even been cleared, not to talk of construction. We first have to clear the land, have a design, bring together engineers, architects, to design a structure. So we are far from construction because the land is still very, very unclear. How can you be talking about a nation under construction when indeed there is no nation? Democracy is defined as government of the people, by the people, and for the people. What we have in Nigeria today is greediocracy. Government of the greedy, by the greedy, and for the greedy. How can you be talking about a nation under construction when you have a nation that has no security? Chapter 2, section 42B of the Constitution is very clear that the security and the welfare of the people shall be the primary prerogative of government. There is no welfare, not to talk of security, and you are talking about a nation under construction. When I was growing up as a child in Kano, houses had no fences, even in the GRAs. The only place you see tall fences those days is either a zoo or a prison yard. Today, we've started building walls. The situation got deteriorated. We started using broken bottles of minerals as barriers on our walls. It further deteriorated. We started using barbed wire. It further deteriorated. We started using electric fence. Today, in the house of bourgeoisie, there is beware of iron, beware of hyena, beware of dogs, and you are talking of a nation under construction. Today, one of the pillars of a country that is under construction is unity. When you go to a general hospital in this country, on the hospital card you are going to fill, before you are filling in the hospital, there is a column for religion, there is a column for local government, there is a column for tribe. How will that facilitate your recovery? A nation that is ethnic, we are too ethnic conscious as a people. You cannot be talking of a nation under construction. You cannot be talking of a nation under construction. All over the world, presidents are role models. The statements of presidents are quotations on a daily basis. Yet you have a country where the president said, "It is my turn." Is their turn in democracy? It is not a nation under construction. You have a country where your president just a few days ago said that all is fair in politics. Violence is fair in politics. Ballot snatching is fair in politics. Rigging is fair in politics. And you say we are a nation under construction. Just a few days ago again, your president said that get it by all means and run away with it. In a democracy that is under construction, the president will not speak like that. Just 2 days ago, the APC released their presidential campaign council, and I'm saying this without apology. And in that council, the chairman of Nigerian Revenue Service, the man who collects the revenue of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, is the deputy director of fundraising for Tinubu's election. How can you say that nation is under construction? We need to tell ourselves the truth, and the NBA was going back. We must go back to the days of Akabashanu, when if the NBA seizes, the entire nation catches hold. We must go back to the days where the NBA will become a change agent for the society. We must go back to the days refused to come to Port Harcourt when this state was commercialized. We thank him and we want that to be promoted. Finally, before I give you my microphone, my brother, you invited me here to come and speak. Allow me to speak. I want to say again that we cannot be talking about a nation under construction when we have nepotic appointments in this country. We are giving carpentry jobs to tailor. I have tremendous respect for Fashola, very intellectually mobile Nigerian, a senior advocate of Nigeria, a bencher, a good lawyer, but he failed as Minister of Works, Housing, and Power. How can you give carpentry job to tailor and you say you are a nation under construction? A'udhu billahi minash shaitani rajim. God forbid.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Senator. Please, a round of applause. Thank you. I'll move on to Honorable Kazare. Please, your initial thoughts.
Hey, thank you very much.
Please, if we can have one house so that we can hear the speakers. Also, to further announce that another session is going on in the next room, Counsel and Code. Please, people that cannot find seats should please go to the next session. Thank you very much. Honorable Kazare, your initial thoughts as a...
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. I thank to Almighty Allah for giving me opportunity to attend this such a great and an important organization, this organization conference. I thank the chairman of Nigerian Bar Association, president of the Nigerian Bar Association for inviting me this place to get opportunity to talk to the members of the Bar Association. My brother and senior distinguished Senator DINO MELAYE has already talked about nation under construction. He said even the field of the building is not clear. Talk less of starting the construction. What I want to say today is the most important engineers that will build this nation is judiciaries. Because when judiciaries are not functioning and are not independent, this nation forever will never be constructed. Because I can see we are in a country whereby we are borrowing money in the name of implementation of budget. Money is spending out of the budget, and still budget is not implemented. And yet the National Assembly cannot call the executive to order to ask them where is the money we approve that you borrowed in the name of the budget implementation, yet 2024 budget, 2025 budget, 2026 budget are not implemented. And why I am regretting and I'm not happy for not being in the 10th National Assembly, because I am sure if I am in the National Assembly by now, I will call for the motion of impeachment of the president, because I see 3 different impeachment offenses. Because you cannot come and ask me that we need money to implement the budget. Please, National Assembly, approve me to borrow the money to implement the budget. When I give you approve and the money was being borrowed, you spend the money, you didn't implement the budget. Where is the money? You have to call the president to the National Assembly to ask him, we give you money, you spend the money, yet the budget is not implemented. Where is the money? So you cannot call this such of a country under construction. We are going under destruction. Because when you look at the borrowing, before Mr. President entered this government, I am with him 100%. We are together day and night. I took the documents of some of my investigation because we investigated some $174 billion looted. And I went, I met him, I told him that first things you can do, you have to set a good committee to recover this money to run our country, that we don't need to borrow money. Because by the borrowing, every day IMF, they are looking for interest, service to pay them interest, debt, how they can run their organization. So they want to borrow us money to devalue our currency in order for them to achieve what they want, and leaving people in poverty and prostration. I told Mr. President, we don't need to borrow money. We see money, trillions of naira, that is diverted. Why can't we recover this money and run the government without borrowing?
Honorable. Honorable.
Okay. So, seriously, we never start clearing the field, inviting the engineers to even start the construction. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable. Thank you very much for your thoughts. I would go on to Uchenna. I want Mr. Isaac, being the friend of the nation, to have the last initial thoughts. So I'll move on to Uchenna, hoping that we get a bit of more optimistic thoughts.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Is the voice
but you need to speak up a little bit for the...
Good morning, my lords, Leonard Silk, distinguished colleagues. My voice is almost gone. I'm going to set a background for my talk. And in as much as they have apologized, but I was informed about this session very late. This is an all-male panel. And as an afterthought, we thought that we should include some gender, sparkly with a bit of gender. But I'm going to try to project my voice as much as I can. Nation under construction. Nigeria is indeed a nation under construction. But, and to my MBA Lagos branch members, just like our MBA Lagos Bar Center, it's been under construction for far too long. We are at a static, we have plateaued. And in my opinion, what is responsible for us being where we are is a breakdown of our institutions. I don't think our culture, I don't think our diversity is a weakness. I think it's a strength. I think as a nation, we need to focus on building our institutions. What are the institutions? The executive, the legislature, the judiciary, the constitution. Law law enforcement agencies, healthcare, education. How many of these institutions are working? We can confidently say that possibly it's just the executive and the legislature who are the voice of the society. How can they break us? You polarize the bar. Make us fight against each other, and we don't stand with one voice. We expend our energies on what we are not supposed to be expending our energies on, rather than focusing on pushing our nation forward and moving the construction forward. Interests. Interests. When you get into an office, you're gagged. You can't talk. You can't express yourself. When you try to express yourself, you have to consider all the interests that are around you. And even if you're the best of people, you find that you start making compromises based on interests. I don't think our diversity is the problem. It's interests. A nation where the other institutions have been hijacked. Is our civil service functional? We write letters, we sue them, we do all this. We go to the law enforcement agencies, we see everything that is going on there. Our judiciary, we talk and talk and talk and talk. Our judiciary is not independent. Why can't they control their own funds? We have instances where the judiciary is going cap in hand to the executive. Is that what it's supposed to be? And we in the bar, who are supposed to push this forward and ensure that they get the independence that they need to function, we are enabling the system. We in the bar, we are the ones, yes, we are lawyers, and we know that we are meant to argue for and against. But how many times do we really go into the ethical implications of our actions? The precedents, wrongful precedents that are set, who is setting them? Are we not the ones? A lot of things that we do in Nigeria, you can't try it in other jurisdictions because you face professional discipline. So, my charge is to us. Because if we get it right, that was our theme last year, right? If we get it right internally, we'll be able to find our true voice as the bastions of society and be able to push and champion the change that we are supposed to see. But we must first of all put the interest of the nation above our personal interests. Those are my initial thoughts.
Thank you very much. I'll come to you, Mr. Isaac. As a leader of bar of a sister nation. What are your initial thoughts about the subject, a nation under construction?
Thank you very much, Mohammed. Good morning, colleagues and distinguished elders. My initial thoughts are, first of all, to send compliments to the President, Azim Afam, for this invitation at this grand stage of addressing the Nigeria Bar Association. And secondly, and most importantly, to bring compliments of the Uganda Law Society and the Commonwealth Lawyers Association to the incoming president, Ms. Honorable Oyikon Badejo, Osa? Okay, that name, Okusoya, yes, senior advocate of Nigeria, in whom the hopes of the Nigeria Bar Association and the nation at large have now been reposited so as to guide this great nation at this critical juncture, when I believe you have really entered the election season and important questions about nation building arise. All across Africa and the Commonwealth, lawyers are agitating over the heart and soul of the Bar Association in nation building. There is the traditional view that the bar should be aloof. I think they call it professional and neutral. It should be the epitome of decorum, politeness, gentleness, meekness, and so forth. But there is also the view that my distinguished brother and elder here, Senator DINO, has talked about, a time when the Nigeria Bar Association was unapologetically, unequivocally pro-people and understood its duty as a check on power. Now, I'm very happy that Senator DINO has given compliments to the outgoing president, Honorable Azim Afam, for having stood in those shoes. As I understand, the election you had at the National Bar Association here, the Nigeria Bar Association, was quite very competitive. It was very competitive. We watched it intensely, and it resulted in a historic, elevation of women in law. Now, with greatest of respect, this is a big test on whether our incoming president, Honorable Oyikon Badejo Osako, will satisfy voices like that of my brother Femi Falana, who thinks that as the bar we are playing too safe in these moments. But I have great confidence in the results you have returned, and I want to close by urging all of you to support the incoming president irrevocably. This is from a personal experience. The entrenched forces that are interested in preservation of the status quo want a disunited bar. And a disunited bar cannot measure up to the expectations of the public. It can't deliver. And lastly, for us outside Nigeria, we have a picture of a Nigerian lawyer. We have a picture of a Nigerian intellectual. And that means there is a duty for all of you who are members of this distinguished body to reflect that picture to the world. Don't leave the duty of fulfilling the mandate of the bar only to the executive. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Distinguished panelists. So we've gone through your initial thoughts. If we were to score this, if I was a lecturer, I would say the collective ranking of Nigeria in your esteemed view is really, really bad. Let's not go into the score sheet. But that's not news. We all know what the challenges are. We all know what our problems have been. And if I may take on the learned senior advocate of Nigeria, for example, you've lived through military dictatorships. More than lived through it, you've had your brush with military dictatorships. I would have thought you've seen Nigeria, hopefully, by the grace of God, you've seen it at its worst. This conversation, we talk about construction, not just in terms of what it is, but what it can be, and how we can change that narrative and head towards a more positive direction. We all have our misgivings, but conferences like the NBA, at the end of the day, we try to come out with resolutions, communicate. We should be looking more towards the light. How do we build better? And in 4 minutes, if you can give us your thoughts on that. How do we, in fact, 3 minutes, because we will still do a question and answer session. 3 minutes, how do we build better, Mr.
Well, thank you very much. Mr. Isaac Sekemade, we have a lot in common. We have a lot in common. But our situation is not as terrible as Uganda. In Uganda, Bob Wine, an opposition leader, is on exile. The living opposition leader in Uganda is going to die very soon if we don't work together. He has lost his eyes, he has lost his ears. So please, we need to work together to save him and expand the democratic space in Uganda. Having said that, again, we have a lot in common. One of our former presidents, Alawa Kabashon, as a young lawyer, didn't start practicing law. He was a revolutionary socialist. And with Nkrumah, they wrote the independence of Uganda under Obote. So we have a lot in common. Having said that, our job is cut out for us by the Constitution. But we're not ready. And this may be the last NBA conference I'm going to attend. Unless our communique this year is implemented. Chapter 2, it is not true that chapter 2 is not justiciable. What section C6 says is that chapter 2 will not be justiciable. However, if in this constitution, exception, so section 13 is an exception. Section 147 is an exception, and so on and so forth. The point I'm making is this. Chapter 2, we have accepted the explanation or the judgment of the Court of Appeal in Okoye and Archbishop of Lagos that chapter 2 is not justice. But in that judgment, the Court of Appeal made chapter 2 justiciable because they wanted proprietors, capitalists, to have private schools in Lagos. And they allowed them in spite of chapter 2. But what have we done for the poor? Section 18 says, education shall be made free as and when possible, practicable. Who is going to make it practical? The ruling class. And they won't do it. Right now, what we have done, and the NBA must come to help the human rights community. We have forced the Nigerian ruling class to enact a law that education shall be free for every Nigerian child from primary to junior secondary school. Today, about 20 million children are roaming the street. Number one. Number two, cash transfer of the poor daily is part of that law. Now, where else can we help? They call welfare. The welfare of our people.
That's help.
Yes. No, the point our own now. Lawyers assist criminals to rig elections in our country. So after this program, the Nigerian Bar Association must organize a forum for senior lawyers who are experts in election petition, so that the shame that is attracted to Nigerian lawyers and judges will be removed. Our judges, final one, our judges, including the Supreme Court. Supreme Court has become a law unto itself. If you go back, sorry sir, one sentence. If you go back to the Supreme Court, that you are wrong, they will say, go and pay 50 million naira. I'm going there next week. And I dare them to ask me to pay. You know why? Section 245 says, there shall be no appeal from the National Industrial Court to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court, in the case of Chuba and Kogi State Government, filed by former president of the bar, J.B. Daudu, filed an appeal. And when we got there, you can't hear this. They heard it. No, this is important. Please. So that we can cross-fertilize ideas. The Supreme Court heard it 4-1. They said they have jurisdiction. I have told them, you have opened the floodgates. We are taking more cases from the National Industrial Court to the Supreme Court. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Learned members of the bar. Learned members of the bar. We all enjoy to listen to the learned senior advocates speak, and I'm with you on that, but we have to manage our time, and we will seek your cooperation in doing that. We would need to get through this time. Thank you. Honorable Kazari. And this is on a very lighter note, so let people understand as Honorable Kazari, you know that thing you said, I think it was in the National Assembly, when they were talking about extending women, allowing women get their fair share in terms of power allocation. And you said we should be doing it small, because if we do it too much, they will take over everything. Do you remember saying that, sir? They said there was a moment when they were talking about women and women in politics. And you gave what I consider a very wise advice, that we should be doing it small, small, because if we give women, they will take everything. Do you stand by that, sir? Please, can you confirm that you stand by that? No, wait, I just want you to, because I wanted to get somewhere. You stand by that statement.
I'm still standing on it.
Thank you, man. It's already happening to us in the Nigerian Bar Association. Women have taken over everything.
No.
So, I will let you go on and say, as a grassroots politician, you are in touch with everyday Nigerians, and I mean, we can say everything we say here, and legislators like yourself and Senator DINO MELAYE may make laws in the National Assembly. When it comes to how it affects the lives of common Nigerians, what are your constituents? What's the vibe? What's the feeling in your constituency in terms of how we were? I mean, and I'm not, when I say how we were, 30, 20, 50, even 50 years ago, are there any improvements in people's lives? Are there things that tells us that if we do X, Y, and Z, things will continue to move in the right direction? I know you've shared your view, which is quite stark and quite, I mean, understandably pessimistic. What can we do to be better? That's the summary. Well, how do we get better?
Good. Thank you very much. The issue of women you are talking about, I talk about women that time when they bring a bill to give women 40% share of positions from local government to state government to federal government level, and also to the parliament. I observe some of men are very weak and women are very intelligent. Because the example I give that time is when you leave women controlling us in the house, showing big men how to do what they want. If you need something, you can go and beg a big man for a favor he cannot do for you. But when you go through his wife, at once, just he will do it. I told them, if we give them opportunity in the home and outside the home in our offices, you give them too much opportunity too. One day you will find out they will throw us aside and take over.
A round of applause, please.
Because they double us in number. First, and all of us here, whenever you grow up, finish your education, or start doing a business, what next to do, you find a partner. And that partner, you will take her responsibility to the end of your life. But when we came to control, because they are clever than us, whoever believe he is clever than a woman, he is deceiving himself. The only thing men pass woman is focused on the future. Women, they decide not for the future, for what their mind need. That is why whenever they need something, they will go on it. They will not think whether there is mistake on that thing or not. If they like, just do it. And that is why when they convince men, sometimes men are going wrong. So that is why I say we should give them 20% on that bill. I amended the bill. Instead of 40%, we should give them 20%. Because when we give them 40%, one day, I say you will find in the Senate and the House all are women, and they will mess up. That is what
All those in favor of the motion to give only 20% to women say aye. All those against say nay. The ayes have it.
Yes.
I'll move on to distinguished senator. Senator, my question for you, you have these very strong views about the state of the nation. You have these strong views about those premises that you say, beware of hyenas, beware of dogs, beware of that is our reality. But you are a famous senator on social media. In fact, your collection of toys is reputable. Many of us, when we look at you, the younger generation, we see parts of that very establishment. You stand out, you speak out, but how much more do you think insiders like yourself can do in terms of changing the narrative and pushing the country, even in opposition, even in government, towards the right direction?
Yeah, I'm going to start by saying that it is not the design of God for you to live in misery. It is also not the intent of God for you to be poor. In fact, God's purpose for you is to live in surplus, Philippians 4:19. Having said that, I want to say that we do not lack laws in this country. We have a lot of them. But what we lack in constructing a nation is the machinery, the cement, the manpower. And using myself as an example, I will talk solutions. First, you cannot be a country under construction when individuals are stronger than institutions. In this country today, we have more churches than industries. You cannot be a nation under construction when you have more churches than industries. You cannot be a nation under construction when the federal government and state government are busy marrying for individuals and spending money to take people to Jerusalem and to Mecca. Religion is private. Religion is personal. When you get to heaven, it is going to be you and your God. No third party, no federal government. If federal government cannot assist you in heaven, why are they assisting you on earth by going to Mecca or going to Jerusalem? And I'm yet to read in any of our holy books that if you do not go to Mecca or Jerusalem, you will not make heaven. So we must reprioritize as a nation. We must build our institutions. The President of America is the strongest American president in history. But he lost 13 cases in the Supreme Court in 2 weeks because the institutions are stronger than him. The reverse is the case in Nigeria, where the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, through his spokesperson, told Nigerians that the President have called EFCC chairman to restore the bank account of Osun State. The President should have no power over any institution, EFCC, NNPC, CBN, or INEC. That is a demonstration of a country where the individual is stronger than institutions. Why will he call EFCC to go and restore order? He has no such powers. So I want to tell us that for us as a nation to move forward, it's in our hands. Election is coming again. Choose between the people and a Milocom. If it is coronation, you go left. But if it is about the people, you go right. And I want to say, the Nigerian Bar Association, we are supposed to be the conscience of the society. We must bring back our long-lost reputation to become the defender of the people, to become change agents in this country, and speak the truth to power. That is why I'm not happy the incoming president is not here. I want to speak directly to her. Some of us are members of the bar, and there's nothing, juju no go kill us. Where we need to speak, we will speak. The incoming president must not eat on the table of the king. If she eats on the table of the king, we will shout. There is no relationship between darkness and light. The bar is the bar. We hope and pray that she will help us to speak truth to power, to defend the commoners in this country, to defend the poor people of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. She must be a Joseph. She must not sleep with Potiphar's wife. She must not.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Finally, please. Finally, the judiciary. When I want to speak, they say, no, you can't speak against the judiciary. You are a lawyer. Unfortunately, the truth have no volume. If you reduce it, it's no longer the truth. If you increase it, there's no longer the truth. So I will speak the truth. In this country, the Court of Appeal gave a judgment and said a matter should be still until they decide in October what they will do. A judge of the High Court, against the pronouncement and order of the Appeal Court, went ahead in Abuja to give a judgment against what the Appeal Court have said. That judge is still there. He has not been invited by NJC. He has not been suspended. He is still moving around. Very soon, maybe he will be elevated. Senator. Judges like Ipeme that are still in our system, the NJC and the leaders of the CJN, they must sit up. We must have justice. Without justice, there is no peace. Without peace, there can be no construction. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, distinguished senator. Thank you, Mr. Mr. Isaac. Now we're talking about how to do better. Mr. Femi Falana also gave a grim picture of your home country. Africa, we have a lot in common, and our faith is pretty much shared. What goes on somewhere affects what goes on in the other places. So what you must have thought about in terms of how to move your own country towards the right direction might just be applicable here. In 3 minutes, how do you think we can build better as a country in 3 minutes?
Hello. Okay. Colleagues, maybe I could add something to what Comrade Falana said. Comrade Falana, it may come as a shock to you that I'm speaking to you as well from exile.
Please, if you can speak up, sir.
Comrade Falana, I'm also speaking to you from exile. By some machinations, immediately after I was elected president of the Bar Association in Uganda, the judiciary sat ex parte and convicted me for 2 years and sentenced me to a sentence of 2 years, apparently on a charge known as contempt of court by scandalizing the judiciary through the X app. So that is something to think about, how the judiciaries fight back when we choose to do better. So from that experience, I want to be able to say the following, that the fight for a clean judiciary is a messy undertaking. There will be voices that urge caution, civility, and compromise. But once you have identified the problem of judicial corruption as an obstacle to nation building, I don't think caution, compromise, and civility are going to solve it. Caution has failed to cleanse our courts. It has been tried for many years in my country. And when I offered myself to lead the bar, I asked colleagues to abandon caution. And overwhelmingly, they supported me. I asked colleagues that we should abandon civility because civility will not dismantle corruption. They voted me overwhelmingly for saying those words. I think the slogan was bang the table. That means, abandon civility. Again, there were voices, and mostly from the senior bar, that there should be compromise in our agitation for, a clean judiciary. But the problem with compromise is that it doesn't restore public trust. The rule of law is the cement for nation building. And once the public has given up on lawyers, once the public sees lawyers having low morale about their profession, low confidence about their profession, they also give up on nation building. And they look for alternatives like military rule. So there is a very big connection there. And I would like to close on the point that we should be very, very careful as lawyers when our morale and our confidence is in decline because we have failed to listen to wisdom from elders like Senator DINO. There is a fear, I think, within English-speaking jurisdictions that to take the approach suggested by Senator DINO is to go political. But it is not. That is what the public expects from the Bar Association, nothing less.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Madam Uchenna, speaking from the bar, we've heard of thoughts on how we need to do better. How do you think the bar, and given that you lead arguably the foremost branch, unarguably the most economically vibrant and populous bar in Nigeria, how do you think we can be more effective in playing these roles that we've been asked to play? And we all know that the bar, speaking about being in Port Harcourt, the reason we're in Port Harcourt today and as against last year is because the bar took a stand. We know that the bar has been taking stands, but how do we make it bite? How do we become more effective in terms of rising up to our position as the voice of the rule of law?
One of the things that endeared me to our current president is the stance and his courageous voice on some of these issues, especially the issue last year, which has led to why we are here this year. We have to be bolder. We have to stand our ground, the current status quo. I'll say it again. Our major problem is interests. When you think about your own interests, if I say it, what will happen? You will offend this, you will offend that. We need to reorient ourselves and find our conscience and be confident enough to stand for what is right. Be confident enough to put the interest of the nation, the interest of the bar, the interest of the collective good ahead of our individual interests. We need to embrace inclusion. All these things we're talking about, women have taken over the bar. We have not. We are just occupying a few positions. The bar is still largely led by men. Inclusion. It takes a lot to run a campaign and a campaign in Nigerian Bar Association. Women are dealing with different things and they have to muster up the courage to be able to push through and throw their hearts into that race. What kind of enabling environment are we providing? Younger generation. How are we encouraging them? And most importantly, how are we encouraging ourselves? I continue to reference the fact that in the first generation of Nigeria's polity, the leaders were in their late 20s and early 30s. Now it seems like an entire generation or two generations have been silenced. Young people are hardly stepping up to the plate. We respect and acknowledge the position of our elders, and they will always, always, always be relevant. But I don't believe in speaking in vacuum. So I'm speaking to each and every one of us. How can we make things better? First of all, each and every one of us needs to reorient ourselves and the way we take public issues. If you cater to your own interests all the time, that's how we found ourselves where we are. So you must look at the bigger picture. Be courageous.
Thank you.
Be bold. And if we look at the bigger picture, we'll be able to drive home our point.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Because of time, to manage our time, we will take a few questions from the audience. And please, if you make it a question, not commentary, please. And we would take just a few, and it would be good if you would direct the question to specific persons. Learned senior advocate, learned senior advocate. They say we have to do 20% women, but just 20%. 20%. There's the learned senior advocate here. The learned senior advocate here. Let's start with them, and then we'll calm down.
Thank you. Mr. Moderator, please. Please, could you permit me? I do not want to ask a question. I want to make a comment because this is something which affects our country. And you have about, say, 6 people up there. My name is Etigwewa. People up there. It's something that affects our country and it's very fundamental. So please, not disobedient, I'll ask for your leave to make a few comments. Is it granted? Thank you. I think that country, it can become a nation. It's not yet a nation. The problem that we have is that the building had gotten somewhere. Nigeria is not under construction. Nigeria is currently under demolition. That's what is happening. Because, I'll give you an example. As a student in a federal government college, I related with Nigerians from everywhere. And that's not the issue anymore today. So we have a major problem as a country. And I saw a lot of populist speaking, with the greatest respect, and very few solutions. There are fundamental issues that we have as a country. One of it is that if you check the literacy levels, you will find that in the northern part of the country, you still have illiteracy levels in some places of 7%, 10%. It will definitely fuel disunity. Any president of Nigeria must establish a ministry of northern education. If we don't get to that point where we're at par, you will keep having the quota system, it will keep annoying people, and there will be continuous problems in the country. Another great problem that we have in this country is the problem of the political class. Politics and public office has been so over-remunerated that it has become a do-or-die affair. And a lot of people who shouldn't be in politics have taken over politics. I have two solutions in 1 minute. One, we need to sit down and renegotiate Nigeria. If we don't, we'll keep having problems. The second point is the MBA, ICANN, all the professional bodies, you have to adopt emergency legislations. Make it compulsory for every member of your association to carry the card of a political party. There should be a mass invasion of the political space by good people. We have a situation now in Nigeria where somebody who has never worked, never done business, has always been in government. They are the billionaires in Nigeria. That state cannot continue. Thank you very much.
Sir. Thank you, Leonard, Senior Advocate of Nigeria.
Thank you very much, Mr. Moderator. My name is Sinusi Musa, distinguished guest, Mr. President of the Nigerian Bar. Now, from what has been said, in my own opinion, the problem of Nigeria is the problem of the elite. There is no consensus of the elite. Why am I saying this? Let me start. The Constitution deliberately make it a disqualification factor for anybody to access leadership position if we acquire the citizenship of another country. The elite in the court interpreted otherwise to say if you are a citizen by birth, even if you acquire the citizenship of another country voluntarily, you are qualified to be in any political office. Now, that's why we have problem today. Most of the leaders in leadership position don't believe in this country. So that's why they cannot construct it. Their families are not in Nigeria because they make sure when their wives are giving birth, they go to America for one thing, because they don't have faith in the country they are ruling. They want their country to be citizens of another country they have faith. That is lack of consensus of the elite. Now, here today, we have DINO, MELAYE, and Honorable Kazauri coming to say the system is bad, the system that. But they were there. They are part of the system. Part of it. Today, we have them. I'm happy His Excellency, the Vice Presidential Candidate of ADC is here. He was the chairman of Governors Forum. They said remove subsidy. But today, he's contesting today, he's bringing back subsidy. So who is deceiving who? We, the elite, we must have consensus of whether we want to rule this country. There are issues that we must agree that this is a no-go area. Otherwise, we'll continue to play with the minds of the poor people. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Leonard, Senator Victor of Nigeria. I see you, but I want us to go to the back. We've dealt, and I would rather on that side. Are there questions on that side, please? And what we've had are more of comments. They are welcome comments. They are very opposite comments. But we should take more of questions, please. So please, if it's a comment, you do not have to vent it. If it's a question, then you could. The man with glasses. Question, please.
Thank you very much. My name is Amina Oyagbola.
Please speak up.
My name is Amina Oyagbola. Thank you very much for the opportunity. I want to ask a question around the issue of gender equality and the issue of gender inclusion under the topic of trying to construct and build a nation. My question is, how do we think that we can construct and build a nation with only half of the population? Why do we think we should be afraid of women taking over? It's not about women replacing men.
Honorable, ask the answer.
So I would like to ask, members of the panel to answer that question. It's a partnership. We're 240 million people in this country. How do we think we can prosper with half of our population doing the work?
Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you very much. The next question.
Thank you very much, sir. My name is Maurice Chijoke Duru. So my question goes to our learned colleague, Senator Dilo Melaye. Sir, you have been saying here, talking about corruption and everything, and we know there's one adage that says charity begins at home. I'm from Imo State, and sometimes I travel to Enugu through Kogi State. You represented a particular senatorial district in Kogi State. So please, you are part of the... We want to know, during your stay in the Senate, what effort did you make? How did you try to improve the people you represented from Kogi State? Thank you, sir.
That's... at the back. We need more women to ask questions. Aha. Okay, please come forward. Okay, maybe as you're coming forward, you can answer the two questions that have been put forward. Senator, you might want to start.
All right. First, the question, before I answer the two questions, I want to respond to Learned Sikh. When Learned Sikh spoke, he requested that more good people should join government. And your reaction is to say good people should stay out of government. Myself and Kazari were in government, and I know when we're in government, we did our bits. And the advice is, don't just sit in your chambers. Join us, so that together we can build a better Nigeria. So that you have more good people in politics, instead of having a larger percentage of never-do-wells in politics.
Thank you.
The truth to power and fighting for the masses of this country. I was suspended for 11 months from the House of Reps. And I want to use the opportunity to publicly thank Femi Falana, who went to court to restore my membership of the National Assembly.
Thank you.
Having said that, the question on gender, I support you, Amina Otegbae. We cannot do anything in this country without women. And the truth of the matter is that we are supposed to appeal to those representing us in the National Assembly. Anytime the issue of gender comes up, it is voted out. Our northern women here, Kazaure already said you have control of your men. Go and control your men. Whenever the issue of gender comes up, let them vote for gender equality. Let them go vote for gender freedom. That is the way to get it right.
Thank you.
The second question is directly to me. And I want to say that, for your information, I was best senator, Federal Republic of Nigeria, 2016, 2017, 2018. Uncontested. And today, by the grace of God, I have the highest number of motions and bills in the history of the National Assembly put together since inception. And I had 219 projects that I did not appoint contractors or take. Today, publicly, I'm saying it for the first time. I'm the only member of the National Assembly who refunded money back to the coffers of the federal government. I paid money to the Accountant General of the Federation, and a treasury receipt was issued for monies paid to me against what was recommended by the fiscal revenue mobilization of this country. And that is why I can sit and criticize Mr. President and go back to my house and sleep. I have never done government contract, whether at federal or state level, and that is why in an unjust society, silence is a crime.
You can speak. Honorable.
Before we answer on this issue of gender, I want to answer that question on gender. On gender. I want to answer that woman's question on gender.
Thank you very much. Mr. Amina asked about a gender.
I want to ask, is that not the 35%?
I never against women. As I said, even during my bill amendment in the House of Representatives about the women, I said I love women. In my whole life, I love women. And
a round of applause, please.
Even in my house, presently, I was controlled by my wife.
How many of them, sir?
And
how many?
I have 3.
Okay, sir.
And they are all controlling me like a football. They are passing me from this place to this place like a football. So if I came out trying to get what will be comfortable to them, and they are there, so what is my important for them in life? So what I said, you give women opportunity, but not too much. That is my observation.
We've agreed, sir. We've agreed on that one. Thank you. Thank you, Honorable.
Well, I think we have to realize that ours is a patriarchal society. Religion and our culture make it impossible for women to compete with men. And what you people do is to fix your meeting to hold at night, 2, 3 a.m. Most women cannot abandon their home to mingle with men at 2, 3 a.m. But let me say this. I got these figures from my wife. There are 139 magistrates in Lagos. Only 33 are men. 139, only 33 are men. Out of 72 High Court judges, 44 women, 28 men in Lagos State. Now, in Uganda, and I think my colleague can confirm this, there are 140 districts in Uganda. Each district must elect a woman so that in the parliament, think about 400 members of parliament total, 140 will be women. We are one of the most backward countries in Africa when it comes to gender inclusivity. Kwara State, a Muslim-dominated state, is the only state in Nigeria that has gender equality in the cabinet, 50-50%. Yes, in Kwara State. Only Rwanda, South Africa, and Ethiopia have reached that level of 50-50%. Here, we have a judgment. My wife won a case that the 35% affirmative action be implemented. When the guys in the National Assembly, you are not there. When they were going to amend the law, they reduced it to 10%. So these are the problems. So if you want our women to be represented, these 3, 4 women, I can understand. Some of our people are laughing here. Some of those who are laughing, it's one at a time. There are people who have 3, 4 women at the end of the day. But just like white people, it's one at a time. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. We have more questions. These 3 questions will be the last. Please go on.
Mr. Moderator,
Thank you.
while you're calling,
Okay.
While you're calling for another question, I want to respond to the women's inclusion matter from a woman's perspective. All the interventions that have been made on that are giving the insinuation that it has to be given to us. There are as many women in this room as there are men. Do we have to wait? Yes, I know, because of the peculiar situations that we go through as women, as homemakers, as nurturers. We need an enabling environment. But while we are waiting for that to happen, is anybody really shutting us out? And women, I speak to you. It seems like we are waiting for permission to be included. Why? Why do you have to wait for permission to be included? So you speak to yourself. I keep on saying we must have a reorientation because we have to work against socio-cultural programming. You can be a leader, you can be a good wife, you can be a good mother. Who says you can't handle it all? Go back to Bible days. Deborah, she was a general. She led generals into war. So don't let anybody confuse you and say you need to wait for permission. Whose permission? Okay, affirmative action will level the playing field, but while waiting for that, please stop waiting for permission.
Thank you very much.
And let yourself in.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. The lady that was about to, please go on, ask your questions. There are two other people there.
Thank you very much. Good.
Yeah, I know now. It's
Good morning, Leonard, Silks, and judges present, and all our colleagues. My name
Please
is
speak up.
My name is Joe Akinola. I wanted to speak about the 35% affirmative action because when Honorable was speaking, he was speaking as if this is something we are trying to bargain or we are trying to, have a meeting and say, can we give women 10? Can we give women 20? Sir, I want to ask, if there's a court judgment at the Federal High Court on affirmative action, why are the legislators still making it look as if we are having a family meeting about this thing? Why can't we just make use of what the court has said? 35% is what it is. And it has been in our national gender policy since 2006. So my question is to you, sir, the legislators, that why is it that legislators are finding it difficult to make this provision of the law a thing that we can work with in Nigeria? Why are we bargaining downward? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Wait, we'll just take the three and then we'll answer them so that we can. And those will be the final questions. Both of you, one person after the other.
Thank you very much. My name is Joseph Boaz. I'm from Akwa Ibom State, Uyo branch precisely. My question is directed to the learned SAN Femi Falana, who said that Chapter 2 of the Constitution is justiciable under Section 13 and Section 12 sub 2B of the Constitution. My question is, sir, the governors of various states and the president severally present budgets. Those budgets provide for projects that are directly crafted from Chapter 2 of the Constitution. The question is, why are there litanies of abandoned projects yet under the window of Section 13
can you wrap
and
up the
Section
question?
14 sub 2? They are not accountable and legal actions are not taken to ensure enforceability and accountability. And what is the role of the NBA
you cannot just
in
ask
doing
the
that?
question.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right. Let the lady speak.
All right. Good morning, everyone. And my question is to the learned Silk again, Femi Falana. I want to ask, how can we make Chapter 2 rights justiciable? Actionable steps on making it justiciable. I am Shipurime Obiagude from the Woriba.
Thank you very much. And that will be the final question, please.
My name is His Greatness Agadaigo. I'm from Asababa, the premier bar in Africa. The premier bar in Africa. My question is directed to DINO MELAYE. How can the NBA deploy its over 150 foot soldiers? Number one, in every court in Nigeria to vigorously fight judicial corruption and stamp judicial corruption out of all our courts. Then the second question is, how can we also deploy these 150,000 foot soldiers to security agencies and especially the police stations to stamp out payment for bail so that bail can be free indeed? Thank you.
Thank you. Isaac, the chairman Speeder was about to ask a question. We are in gender balancing atmosphere. Please take it to her so she asks the final question, and we will take the response from.
My name is Uju Agomo. I just want to ask for very quick clarification from Senator Kazare. Please, sir. Hello, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. I just wanted to find out, because when you were speaking, you were reading out some statistics about women and some things about what women do and what they don't do. So I just wanted some little clarification, sir, about the research and whether there is something that had spoken in terms of the competencies and capacities of women in relation to tax being given. Perhaps if you can explain to us how this research was done, perhaps we may be able to understand. And if the research has not been done, perhaps it may be a possibility of thinking of strategies that can help us understand how to ensure that the best of our best are deployed.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. That will be the final question. And for 1 minute each, you can answer the questions whilst giving your closing remark. 1 minute each, please, because the next session starts right after this. So I'll start with the learned senior advocate. Your closing remarks vis-a-vis answering the questions.
I have about 3 questions. On chapter 2, there are 2 issues here. If you follow the Supreme Court judgment in the case of AG Ondo and AG of the Federation, what the Supreme Court is saying is that any part of chapter 2 that has been translated to law can be enforced. And that was why Section 15.5 was said to be justiciable in that case. The following cases, the following laws have been enacted to advance chapter 2. FOI Act, Freedom of Information Act, that is Section 22 of the Constitution. Many of us are not using the law. Today, if you write to the government, they have 7 days to reply. When we got here yesterday, I discovered that Mary Habila, the lady that died in the house of a minister, has been quietly buried. I'm going to send a letter tomorrow. Can I have a copy of the autopsy report? Because that was where we were. 2, we have told you about Section 18 of the Constitution. We now have the Adult Literacy Commission Act. We also have the UBEC, or Minimum Wage Act. I'm sure you are aware of the Minimum Wage Act. Efforts are now being made to increase. We have the National Housing Act for workers. 2.5% is deducted every month for workers' housing project. We also have the Federal Mortgage Act to provide housing. We have the Nigerian Social Investment Act. I can go on and on and on. Those are laws that have been made. I'm also saying every governor and the president and every elected officer swears in line with Schedule 7 that I am going to undertake to enforce Chapter 2 of the Constitution. Before you swear, before you are allowed to begin to work, you must take this oath. So we are going to court very soon to say you cannot breach your oath. Then Section 224 for our politicians here. All your manifesto and program must contain Chapter 2 of the Constitution.
Thank you very much.
So for our court now to say Chapter 2 is not justiciable, it's no longer the current state of the law.
Thank you very much. A round of applause, please. Honorable, your closing remarks. If any of the questions that applies to you, you can answer it whilst giving your final remark.
What I can see even now, majority in this house are women. Majority. Wherever I look, I see women are majority in this conference. And we are proud of the women. What I always try for people to understand, women, they were created naturally to serve under men. That is how you were created by Almighty Allah. And if you can control us, running our children, everything, when women take over everything, you will pack men aside. And God said we should guide you. And when you become ahead of us, how can we guide you? That is my observation. So you give women 30% in everything, then they can control us. You are controlling us 90% already. So what I want women to understand is I'm not against women, but in my own situation, I finished my life in serving women. Whatever I get now is for women. So what are you looking for?
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Member. Thank you. Thank you. I guess that's a big prize. Honorable said all that he has been and has worked for is for you guys. Take it. Thank you so much. Senator.
Thank you very much. Before my final thought, there's a question on what we should do to mobilize and utilize the numbers in NBA. Like I said earlier, we must, as lawyers in this country, individually and collectively, every Nigerian lawyer must decide to either walk in the light of creative altruism or we collectively perish in the darkness of relative selfishness. We must hold our leadership accountable. We must make sure that the leadership of NBA begin to take on issues of common interest across this country. The president of this country filled an INEC form, is the most brilliant person on earth. He went to university straight without primary and secondary school. And what are we saying about it? What questions are we asking about this? So really, every lawyer in this country must make sure that the leadership of this country, leadership of the NBA, become very proactive on all issues. And we must not leave everything to the national president and national executive of NBA. We have branch chairmen. We have branches across the state. If things happen within your jurisdiction and your state, you can take affirmative action within your jurisdiction without waiting for national. That collectively, if the branch chair in Kano is working, the branch chair in Abia is working, the branch chair in in Oyo is working, collectively it will culminate. It will eventually help us. But please, NBA must come back to be the watchdog and the conscience of this country. And the leadership will not do it till every one of us here start asking questions and holding the leadership accountable. That is a big challenge for the incoming president to please continue from where the current national president.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Mr. Isaac, in just 1 minute.
Well, in just 1 minute, I want to speak to the young lawyers within the National Bar Association and affirm to them that even the mighty NBA is not immune to elite capture. So there is a young lawyer who talked about corruption in the judiciary. It is something I haven't heard said a lot in this platform, but I share this concern with Professor Chidi Odinkalu. With great respect, I don't want to comment on matters that are internal for Nigeria, but judicial corruption is a very big concern in Uganda, and it took a revolution, a revolt against the bar by young lawyers because it appeared that the established bar was probably complicit in allowing this to fester. And so you have legitimate voice as younger lawyers, as female lawyers as well, to guide the bar in the direction that can save it. It needs your voice.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Please go on, Madam Uche. It's working.
By way, my closing remarks would be not committed to playing our own role in advancing this country forward. We are going nowhere. We need courageous leadership. How do you have courageous leadership? We're not saying you have to be radical all the time, but you must be bold enough to stand for what is right. We need inclusion. We need for people to demand accountability. I'll give you an example. We organized the town hall, an interactive session in my branch, asking our to engage us. We made to you. Yes, it was interactive, but it wasn't interactive enough. We are too comfortable with the status quo. Our resilience and adaptability is of interest. Don't talk. You will not get there. They will block you in front. Interest. Put the interests of the country first. If there's no positive disruption, we are going to continue going round in circles. It's the same playbook. Go and watch any documentary on Nigeria. It's the same thing that has been happening. So my charge is to each and every one of us, the only way we can get our country to that level that we want it to be is through our individual commitment, involvement, and advancement of what we know we are supposed to be doing. Thank you.
Thank you very much. To recap what has been said here, we all agree that Nigeria, indeed, call it nation, call it country, is under construction. We also agree that the indices are not in the right place. Do we, please, the ones we agree about, let's say yes. We agree that the indices of construction are not in the right place. We agree that whether it is under construction or about to embark on construction or destruction, as has been said, we all share a part of that. And we know that if we would make any headway in turning it in the right direction, it lies not just on the leaders, not just on the members of the National Assembly, not just on the men, not just on the women, but indeed all of us to turn the tide for Nigeria. Yes or no? And we can issue all the communiques we want. We can speak all the English we want. But it lies in us, in the things we do in our individual lives, in our respective firms, how we treat ourselves, our juniors, and indeed our seniors. It is for us to do better, yes or no? The Human Rights Committee. Yes, the learned senior advocate had made the needs to be activated to be alive to its responsibilities in terms of not just speaking about the abuse of the rights, but doing something constructive about it and ensuring that magistrates in compliance with the law go and visit detention camps, police stations, even prisons, to ensure that these people that have been badly served in terms of their rights are addressed. And each of us are stakeholders in the project Nigeria, whether it's in construction or not. Do we all undertake to do our best in making sure Nigeria heads in the right direction? And this has to start today. This has to start in our individual lives and our firms. Having said that, please put a round of applause for this panel, the best you can give. The best round of applause. And to appreciate the members of this panel, I will call the His Royal Highness. We have some plaques to present to them, but if it will be inconvenient to climb the podium, maybe we would leave the Royal Okay, the panel will come down and be presented with the plaques as a token of our appreciation to the panel for this wonderful session. Please, as they come down, a round of applause for members of the panel. No, he needs to present it. The president. Where is he? Oh, and the president of the Nigerian Embassy. I was looking for him. The president, please. But the photo guys prefer that we are here. Maybe the president will present to them, and then they will go down and have royal handshake with His Royal Majesty. Mr. President.
I thought we were going to talk about it.
Yeah, no, there is no time.
Thank you so very much. Thank you so very much. Where are the plaques? We don't want to have time overrun. But while we're waiting for the plaques, Mr. Falana, not to respond to you. I may not know the record of Judge Way and the judiciary, but I also know that if governments are to be judged by the number of judgments they don't respect, we may never invite any government official in Nigeria to our event. And also to say that Judge Way was simply invited because his life story resonates with our team beyond limits. Overcoming adversity to attain a higher position in life and not being beggarly. Breaking whatever obstacle or glass ceiling that is placed above you. We may always have something to say about one person or the other. Our choice of speakers may not always appeal to every person. But for the purpose of why we invited him, I would like to believe that we were right. Thank you so very much. Now, it's not easy getting Mr. Falana to appear. Now, this is just a memento we're presenting to you for attending this conference. This is just a paperweight and a plaque with the compliments of the Nigerian Bar Association, and this is a bag.
Mr. President, thank you very much. There is nothing inside. I think it's a Ghana must go. But for, please, Honorable Kazaure, he says he's going to take his fourth wife very soon.
Well, somebody told me that at creation, one thing God did not interfere with is the right to choose. If he chooses a fourth wife, so be it. Thank you so very much. We can't afford a Ghana must go. Even if we can afford it, we can't take a risk of giving one to you. Yeah, this is okay. And unfortunately, you may not be able to give to each of your wives, but show them what we give you. Senator DINO MELAYE, you know, somebody talked about your toys. He was trying to suggest that because you are not poor, you can't be an activist. But you quoted the Bible to tell them that it was not God's intention for us to live in misery or to be poor. And I agree with you. Thank you so very much for coming. Can I have it? Please. We apologize you got that information late. And this is not what we try to represent. We've always spoken against tokenism at the bar, bringing in a woman just to call her a session. We think there should be a balance in what we do. But thank you for pointing that out. We hope to do better. Thank you so very much, Madam Chair. Yes. This is the chair president of the Ugandan Law Society. What he failed to mention is that he's also in exile from his country and is also a victim of judicial intimidation, which has convicted him and will not allow an appeal by him. That is the sad story of what we experience in Africa. Maybe someday, very soon, something we give to enable him to be heard, to defend himself so that he continued to live his life. He did not choose exile. He was forced into exile. Thank you so very much for coming.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
So we take a group photograph. Your Royal Majesty, Albert Akpomu JSN. You know, for many years, we are used to calling His Majesty Olorogun. So sometimes my mouth misfires and I say call him Olorogun, but it's the Royal Majesty, the chair of the body of benchers. Group photograph, please. And Mohammed Adelodo, thank you for anchoring that session. I think we should use you more in that department, or I think the MBA should. Thank you.
I'll collect the money. Please, the next session is the plenary, and it will continue right in a few minutes. So please feel free to just stretch your legs, and the next session continues right here, right now. Thank you, everybody.
Alhaji Atiku Abubakar of the ADC, ably represented by His Excellency Barrister Amachi. Barrister Amachi. I said His Excellency Barrister. Okay. His Excellency Sarotimi Amachi. Please, a round of applause for him. I am told that the representative of Mr. Sheyi Makinde of the APM is still on his way. I guess he's not here right now. And permit me to also invite to the stage Mr. Omoyele Sowore, AAC candidates, African Action Congress candidates. A round of applause for him as he moves into the stage. And permit me also to invite to the stage the National Democratic Congress candidates, Mr. Peter Obi. A round of applause for him. Please settle down. And I understand that. And permit me to also invite another presidential candidate, His Excellency, Mr. Donald Duke. I was told he was on his way. I don't know whether he's here right now. And next is the SDP candidate, Prince Adebayo. A round of applause for him, please. Ladies and gentlemen, this session is built for 2 hours, and it's on politics, people, and Nigeria's future. Let's forget the slogans. This is where the real conversation begins as Nigeria prepares for its next electoral chapter. We have before you today leading presidential hopefuls to take the stage, interact with us, and possibly take some questions from us. I shall now, as the time is spent, hand over the microphone while we are waiting for others that are still on their way. I shall hand the microphone to the moderator to continue from where I am stopping. Thank you. A round of applause for the moderators, Steve.
Well, thank you very much. Good afternoon. Actually, it's morning. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Now, I'd like to plead with the auditorium. We cannot enjoy this conversation if there's no silence in the room. So please, I implore you, please cooperate with us so you can hear them when they speak, and we can give you the opportunity to ask questions. Well, thank you very much, and welcome to this conversation. So this session, it's about people, it's about politics, and the 2027 elections. And I love the subtitle of this session. And the subtitle is Forget the Slogans. Now, we say forget the slogans because Nigerians are tired of listening to slogans. They're tired of listening to speeches, especially as we march towards a very consequential elections. The big question for today is not who wants to be the president. The question is, president for what? And so in this session, we're going to be asking the presidential candidates not what they want to do, but how they're going to do it, how they are going to fund the reforms, but more importantly, whether they are able to provide some of the questions that Nigerians are asking. And the questions are simple. We want food, we want jobs, we want security, and more importantly, can we trust our institutions and whether our votes will count? So this session is not a campaign rally, neither is it an opportunity for rehashed speeches. This session is to interrogate some of the issues that you have put forward and see if we can have a conversation about the future of Nigeria. So I'm going to pose questions to our speakers, and at some point we will come to you for questions. But let me confirm that you have the mics and the mics are working. They're working. So let's begin. Before I go into Nigeria needs to be reclaimed, and our current trajectory needs some repurposing. You all collectively agree that to remove an incumbent, you need a coalition. Why is it that the entire opposition has not built consensus around one candidate? Is it a question of ideology? Is it a question of strategy? Or it's your personal ambition? And maybe to be very personal, will you agree to step down for a candidate that the opposition is not coalescing around one candidate? If you all agree that you require a coalition to trump the incumbent. Mr. Owele.
Well, thank you very much, everyone. We welcome you to Port Harcourt, but to go straight to the point, I disagree with you that we need an opposition to defeat the incumbent. Only if the opposition is opposed to the incumbent. There must be ideological differences. We must be a spectrum of people who are different from the people who are there. If you support removal of fuel subsidy, you are not different from the government in power. If you support and live a corrupt lifestyle, you are not different from the government in power. It is the people, the Nigerian people, that will defeat the incumbent, not their friends who do not want to change the old order. The question you also ask is, will I step down for someone if they have better chances? The question is, what do they have chances to do? Is it the chances to continue more of the same or to change the trajectory of Nigeria? I'm not here as a presidential candidate to manage Nigeria's decline. I'm here to change the country for good. If anybody is willing to change the country, I will work with the person. But I will not work with anybody who simply want to replace the old order with an older, even ricketier order. That's my position. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Governor Amachi.
Well, I bring greetings from former Vice President Atiku, who has directed that I represent him in this conference. Maybe he chose me not only because I'm the vice presidential candidate, but because I'm also a lawyer. Coalition, as it is today, is difficult to achieve. If it is possible, I'm sure that Vice President Atiku will be willing to participate. But the difficulty in it is everybody has ambition. Nobody wants to give up. There are very few politicians who are in love with Nigeria. You can clap as much as you want. There are very few politicians who are in love with Nigeria. What the politicians are doing is just to come in and milk the country dry. I know the question that will come from one of you now will be, were you not one of them? Yes, I'm one of them. It's a quick question, I'm one of them, but when you go out to the streets, as you live here, you will see 2 new primary schools I built. They've been abandoned. The road across was built by me. The road here was built by me, so I'm different. And ADC provides for you a different kind of leadership completely. If you can't perform, please don't vote for us. That's our position. If you can't perform. When we were campaigning, especially me, I say to the world, literally every politician contesting for election, apart from him and some few others, have held one position or the other. So why are you finding it difficult to choose from one? Go and do a referendum on all of us. Look at those who have stolen your money. Don't vote for them. Look at those who are exhibiting their wealth. Don't vote for them. Look at those who have governed states and say, what have they governed? What have they done? So coalition may not be able to work because individual politicians have their ambitions and they don't want to give up. And since they don't want to give up, Nigerians should come together and vote for experience and capacity. That's what I think.
Well, thank you very much. Governor Peter Obi.
Thank you, and thank you for the honor of going to speak to this wonderful audience. Well, when you talk about coalition, the first thing to ask, coalition for what? If the coalition is for good governance, to tackle the issues affecting Nigeria, I agree on it, and I still think it can be achieved. However, when we talk about coalition, we have to first examine people's records, starting from their background, their competence, their capacity, their commitment and character to be able to drive that new process. If we have somebody who I'm convinced will do that work, of course, yes. We're already talking with each other. How do we come together? Today, the most important thing we need here is unity. But that will be unity of purpose, unity to change Nigeria, unity to ensure that we start doing things the way it is supposed to be.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. Honorable Prince, although the two of you didn't answer the question, if you would step down for any other candidate, if evidence shows that such a candidate is more likely to win.
I'm sure you didn't listen to me very well. I said first that it's difficult to achieve a coalition. So if you don't have a coalition, how do you step down?
Okay.
Then I also said a coalition should be based on performance. And I say to you, there's a referendum, you should do a referendum. We have all served in government. Atiku has served in government. Governor P2B has served in government. I have served in government. All others, apart from he and this. Assess us by our last performance and choose. Don't just go because you are from Ikwere or you're from Omoko and choose your.
Okay.
No, that's why we're running down.
Okay. Yes, Prince.
Thank you. I pay my respect to the Nigerian Bar, the learned Sikh, your lordships on the bench, and fellow Nigerians. The question you have asked is the most important question for the political class. Because the political class, they are struggling on how one another. And who is going to go next to continue mismanaging the economy? People just want good government. They don't care if the professional politicians succeed or not. They care about why is it that every 4 years we hold elections and nothing changes, and if things change at all, they change for the worse. Now the question you're asking has been brought to us before. The Social Democratic Party, which I represent, has had interaction with the professional politicians. There was a time when they wanted to come with a coalition to come to the SDP. And we had negotiations with them. Okay. And from that interaction and negotiation, we discovered 3 things. One, that they don't care about ideology. They just want to win and figure out later.
Okay.
In the case of the SDP, we are committed to Chapter 2 of the Constitution, Fundamental Objectives and Directive Principle of State Policy. If you don't subscribe to that, you cannot even be a councillor in SDP.
Okay.
And they don't subscribe to that.
Okay.
Secondly, we don't rotate power based on ethnicity and religion, your turn or my turn.
Okay.
We do it based on your understanding of the needs of the country. Thirdly, we do not measure candidates with respect to how much money they have, what they call war chest. So for that reason, we are just going to the Nigerian people to form a coalition with the Nigerian people. If, however, because the professional politicians are also part of the Nigerian people, if they come and subscribe to Chapter 2 of the Constitution and subscribe to the ethics and ethos, we will work with them. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you very much. So what is clear from this round of interaction is that the chances of having a coalition ahead of the next election should be a forgotten issue, although some of you have expressed possibilities. But since you have the mic, let's pivot to the discussion on the economy. Now, the most topical conversation in today's Nigeria is the fuel subsidy conversation. Now, I've listened to virtually all of you. Some of you have criticized the policy, how it's been implemented. Some of you welcome it. Last week, the federal government told us that they've saved about 15 billion naira from the subsidies. 10 billion goes to the states and local governments. 5 billion for the trillion to the federal government. My question to you, do you support the removal of fuel subsidy? If the answer is in the affirmative, is there something wrong with the way it's being implemented? And if your answer is no, what other policy options do you propose?
Okay. We are back
and you've got 2 minutes. Okay. 2 minutes.
We are back to 4 years ago. 4 years ago, the issue was simple. We said no. We don't believe in the removal of subsidy at all. We said we don't believe. I think SOWORE of AAC doesn't believe.
So just to be clear, you don't believe in removal of fuel subsidy?
No, it doesn't make any sense.
Okay.
And we predicted what would happen if you went into it. The rest of them, Governor Peter Obi said he will remove it. Atiku Abubakar of PDP then said he will remove it on day one. He will even sell NNPC together with it, and so on and so forth. We said don't do it. And we predicted everything that will happen, and they happen exactly as we predicted it. Now, so the issue of subsidy should not be discussed again, because if you have a patient that has